Mars, a cold, silent, red world, hanging like a lonely ember in the darkness of space. For millions of years it has called to humanity, whispering a question older than science itself. Are we alone in the universe? This is where the story of the Curiosity rover truly begins, not with metal, computers, or machines, but with a question. A simple question that changed everything. Curiosity was not just built to take pictures, was not sent to Mars only to roll around and look at rocks. It was sent with a mission far bigger, far more dangerous, and far more important: to find out if Mars ever had life. And for that, humanity needed more than a robot. It needed a scientist on wheels, a mobile laboratory, a machine that could think, observe, measure, and discover. That machine would become Curiosity, a planet full of secrets from Earth. Mars looks dry, empty, and lifeless. But through telescopes and space missions, scientists began noticing strange clues. Clues that suggested Mars once looked very different. They saw deep valleys carved into the surface, wide channels running across the land, patterns that looked like riverbeds. They saw minerals that only form when water flows. They even detected signs that the planet once had a thicker atmosphere. Piece by piece, the evidence added up to something incredible. Mars, long ago, was a warm world with rivers, lakes, and maybe even oceans. If water once existed, then maybe something lived there. Not humans, not animals, but tiny forms of life, microbes that could survive harsh environments. But all of this was just theory, a guess, a possibility. Humanity needed proof. To find that proof, NASA needed a rover that could do what no rover had done before. They needed a machine that could carry the tools of a full science laboratory: chemistry, geology, atmospheric analysis, all packed into one tough, intelligent robot. This was the beginning of an idea that would become one of the most ambitious space missions ever attempted. The birth of Curiosity did not appear overnight. It took years of work from thousands of engineers, scientists, designers, and dreamers. Every screw, every wheel, every wire was built with a purpose. Curiosity would be bigger than any rover before it, almost the size of a small car. Strong, heavy, powerful. A machine built to survive a planet that has temperatures far below freezing, dust storms that last for months, radiation from the sun, and sharp rocks that never soften. The rover needed eyes, so it was given high-resolution cameras. It needed a brain, so it was given computers that could make decisions. It needed a hand, so engineers built a robotic arm with strength and precision. It needed a way to study the soil, so they gave it drills, scoops, and sensors. It needed a way to examine chemicals, so they built mini laboratories inside its body. One of its most incredible instruments was a laser called Chem-Cam. With this, Curiosity could fire a beam of light at a rock, vaporize a small part of it, and study the glowing dust to understand its chemistry. Another tool, SAM, the sample analysis at Mars lab, could heat soil samples and study the gases released. It could detect organic molecules, building blocks of life. Piece by piece, Curiosity became something extraordinary, a scientist built from steel and circuits. But the rover's job was not just to land on Mars. It had to explore a very special place, Gale Crater. Why Gale Crater? Gale Crater is one of the most mysterious places on Mars. It is an ancient impact crater formed by a giant asteroid billions of years ago. At its center rises a massive mountain called Mount Sharp, layered with rock that looks like pages in a history book. Each layer tells a story of rivers that once flowed, of lakes that once filled the crater, of climate changes over millions of years. If Mars ever had life, then somewhere inside those layers there might be evidence. To scientists, Gale Crater was not just a location. It was a treasure chest waiting to be opened. But reaching that treasure would not be easy. That is why they built Curiosity to be strong, patient, and intelligent. Before it could begin its journey across the Martian surface, it had to survive something much more intense. It had to survive the journey through space and land safely on a hostile world. But that part comes later. For now, part 1 focuses on why Curiosity was created. And the reason is simple: to answer questions that humans have asked for centuries. Questions as old as time. Humans have always looked up at the sky with wonder. They built stories about the stars, myths about the planets, and dreams about other worlds. Mars especially has always captured the human imagination. Is there life out there? Are we alone? Could another planet have had water before Earth? Could life exist in the harshest places? These are not just scientific questions, they are human questions. Curiosity's name was chosen for a reason. Human curiosity is powerful. It drives exploration. It pushes boundaries. It makes us search for answers even when the journey is dangerous. And Mars is one of the hardest places to study. The air is thin. The cold is extreme. The storms are violent. The radiation is strong. But Curiosity was built to survive all of this. It was built to unlock the secrets buried beneath the red dust of Mars. The science behind the mission Curiosity's mission had four main goals. 1. Find out if Mars ever had the right conditions for life. Life needs water, energy, and the right chemicals. Curiosity was built to find all three. 2. Study the climate of Mars. The rover could measure temperature, wind, humidity, and radiation. 3. Study the geology of Mars. Its tools could drill into rocks and reveal what the planet was made of. 4. Prepare for future human missions. Curiosity helps scientists understand what dangers humans might face on Mars. Every tool, every camera, every sensor was designed with these goals in mind. Curiosity did not go to Mars to take pretty pictures. It went there to change our understanding of the universe. A planet that once had potential Mars today looks dead. No rivers, no lakes, no plants, no animals. But the evidence shows that billions of years ago, the planet looked very different. There might have been flowing rivers, calm lakes, a thicker atmosphere, warmer temperatures, chemical ingredients needed for life. Curiosity's job was to find proof of this. And to do that, it had to read the rocks like pages in a book. Rocks on Mars hold memories. They remember water. They remember heat. They remember what the planet used to be. Curiosity was designed to read those memories. The dream behind the mission behind Curiosity's metal body is a human story, a story of determination and hope. Scientists and engineers worked day and night for years building a machine that would travel millions of kilometers away. They knew that once Curiosity reached Mars, there would be no way to repair it. No human could touch it. No one could fix its wheels or change its batteries. It had to be perfect on launch day. It had to be perfect on landing day. It had to be perfect every day after. This pressure pushed the engineers to their limits, but they believed in the mission. They believed in the idea that Curiosity could help answer one of the greatest mysteries of all time. A new chapter in space exploration. Curiosity's mission was not just about science. It was about humanity's future. If Mars once had life, that changes everything. It means life might be common in the universe. It means Earth is not a miracle, but part of a bigger story. It means we may not be alone. And even if Curiosity did not find proof of life, every discovery brought us closer to understanding our place in the cosmos. This is why Curiosity was sent to Mars, to open a new chapter, to explore a lost world, to bring us answers from millions of kilometers away. The beginning of the adventure. Curiosity was ready. Its tools were ready. Its mission was clear. But before it could study rocks, climb mountains, or search for life, it had to survive the most dangerous part of the entire mission, the landing. The 7 minutes of terror, a moment where everything could fail. Deep inside a massive clean room on Earth, the Curiosity rover waited in silence. Engineers moved around it like surgeons preparing a patient for a life-changing operation. Every bolt was checked. Every wire was tested. Every part was examined again and again. Curiosity was more than a machine now. It was the result of years of human effort, hope, and imagination. Soon it would leave Earth forever and travel to a world no human had ever touched. But before it could begin its great mission on Mars, something even more dangerous waited ahead: the journey through space. A leap into the unknown. On launch day, crowds gathered to watch history take flight. The rocket towered above them like a skyscraper made of steel and fire. Inside that rocket, locked tightly and safely, was Curiosity. As the countdown began, everyone held their breath. 10, 9, 8. Each second echoed like a heartbeat. 3, 2, 1. A thunderous roar shook the ground. Flames burst downward as the rocket leapt into the sky. The Earth beneath became smaller, but the danger was far from over. Every second of the climb was critical. A single mistake could end the mission. Curiosity had left home, but its journey was only beginning. 8 months in deep space. Once separated from the rocket, the spacecraft carrying Curiosity drifted into the darkness. Space is quiet, calm, and deadly. Curiosity was alone, surrounded by stars and emptiness. The spacecraft rotated slowly so no side overheated. Solar radiation passed through the vacuum. Tiny dust particles flew past at high speed, but Curiosity stayed safe inside its protective shell. For 253 days, the rover traveled more than 560 million kilometers. Inside its capsule, sensors kept checking conditions: temperature, pressure, orientation. Engineers on Earth monitored everything, sending commands from millions of kilometers away. Every day felt the same: silent, lonely, and dark. But Curiosity was on a path that no rover had ever taken before. The target, Gale Crater. While Curiosity traveled through the void, scientists on Earth studied its landing site. Gale Crater, a place filled with secrets of Mars's ancient past. High-resolution images from orbit showed dried river deltas, cracked soil, and minerals that only formed in water. It was a perfect place to look for signs of ancient life, but landing there would be extremely difficult. The crater had sharp rocks, steep slopes, and unpredictable winds. No rover had ever tried landing in such a dangerous place. Yet that's exactly why Curiosity was going. Because answers didn't hide in safe places. They hid in the risky places, deep in the dust of Mars, waiting to be discovered. The final days before arrival, as the spacecraft approached Mars, engineers began preparing for the landing sequence, something they had practiced hundreds of times but never experienced for real. The landing system was more complex than any before it. A heat shield, a supersonic parachute, rocket-powered descent, and finally, a sky crane lowering the rover on cables. If even one step failed, Curiosity would be lost forever. As the final hours approached, a strange mix of fear and hope filled NASA mission control room. Everyone knew that once Curiosity entered the atmosphere of Mars, no one could stop it. No one could control it. For 7 minutes, the rover would have to land itself. Those 7 minutes would become known as the 7 minutes of terror. Entering the red planet, the spacecraft reached Mars like a silent visitor. Mars rotated slowly beneath it, colored in shades of orange, brown, and red. Craters dotted the land, dust storms swirled far below. Then the moment came. Curiosity reached the edge of the Martian atmosphere. The landing sequence began. Inside mission control, dozens of eyes stared at screens. A message popped up, entry interface confirmed. Everyone knew what that meant. Curiosity was falling. The fire of entry as the rover plunged into the atmosphere at nearly 21,000 kilometers per hour, the heat shield glowed bright orange. Temperatures rose to over 1,600 degrees Celsius, hotter than molten lava. But Curiosity was protected. The heat shield held strong, absorbing the fiery energy. The spacecraft shook violently. Sensors reported pressure changes, turbulence, and heat spikes. Engineers watched every number change on their screens, but they could do nothing. Curiosity was on its own. Supersonic parachute deployment at the exact right moment, explosive bolts fired. A giant parachute opened behind the spacecraft. It was the largest parachute ever sent to another planet. The speed dropped sharply, but not enough. Mars's thin atmosphere could not slow Curiosity enough for a safe landing. It needed something more powerful. The heat shield drops away with a loud mechanical snap. The heat shield detached and fell toward the surface. Now, for the first time, Curiosity looked directly at Mars with its cameras. The ground rushed closer. Mount Sharp rose like a silent giant in the distance. Ridges and rocks stretched across the landscape. Curiosity scanned the terrain quickly to choose a safe landing spot. Time was running out. Rocket-powered descent, the parachute detached. The rover was now connected to a powered descent stage, basically a flying platform with rockets. The engines ignited, slowing the descent. Dust clouds formed below as the rockets pushed against the thin Martian air. Inside mission control, tension grew. The team watched the signals arrive with a painful delay. Every second felt like a minute. If the rockets fired too hard, they could blast rocks onto the rover. If they fired too weak, Curiosity would crash. Everything had to be perfect. The sky crane maneuver, and then came the most unbelievable part of the landing. The descent stage hovered above the ground. Cables unrolled, lowering Curiosity like a delicate package. This maneuver had never been tried in space before. As Curiosity touched the ground, sensors confirmed. Touchdown confirmed, wheels down on Mars. Inside mission control, the room exploded with cheers, tears, and celebrations. Years of effort had just paid off. Curiosity was alive, it was safe, it was standing on another world. But Curiosity's story was only beginning. As dust settled around the rover, it slowly woke up. Its cameras lifted, its instruments powered on, its systems checked themselves carefully. Curiosity took its first panoramic view of Mars. The red desert stretched endlessly. Rocks dotted the land like ancient ruins. Mount Sharp stood tall, waiting. Curiosity's mission was clear: explore, discover, reveal the truth about Mars's ancient past. But Mars is not a quiet planet. The wind whispered warnings. The ground hid secrets older than Earth's oldest fossils, and something unexpected awaited Curiosity in its next steps, something no one had prepared for, something that would change everything the scientists believed. Mars, with its silent winds and endless fields of red dust, does not welcome visitors easily. Curiosity knew that. It had survived the flames of entry, the violent parachute swing, and the impossible sky crane landing. Now it stood still, like a metal explorer taking its first breath on alien soil. But this rover wasn't just a machine. It was a masterpiece of engineering, a robot designed with the mind of a scientist and the soul of an explorer. Part 3 of Curiosity's story reveals how this rover was built to survive, to adapt, and to make discoveries that would shock the world. A scientist on 6 wheels, Curiosity began to wake up slowly, performing checks on every part of its body. Each system activated one by one, like a heartbeat coming to life. The rover had 6 wheels, not simple wheels, but strong, flexible, intelligent wheels. Each wheel was taller than a human adult's knee and carved with zigzag patterns. These patterns weren't for style. They helped the rover grip loose sand and sharp rocks. Each wheel moved independently. This allowed Curiosity to climb slopes, cross uneven ground, and turn in place with surprising grace. It looked like a robot built for war. But Curiosity was built for science. Brain of the rover inside Curiosity's body was a brain, a powerful computer protected from freezing temperatures and deadly radiation. This brain allowed Curiosity to think, navigate, avoid obstacles, make decisions without help, study rocks, store data, communicate with Earth. When mission control slept, Curiosity kept working. When dust storms darkened the sky, Curiosity adjusted its power and saved energy. This was not a simple robot listening to commands. It was a partner in discovery. The eyes that never blink mounted high on Curiosity's mast were its eyes, the cameras that would reveal Mars to the world. These cameras could zoom far distances, capture true colors, take 3D images, shoot high-resolution panoramas, record the surface both day and night. For the first time, humans could see Mars almost as if they were standing there themselves. Each photo brought wonder. Each photo brought questions. And from the very first day, Mars started showing things no one expected. The laser that shoots rocks, one of Curiosity's most impressive tools, was the Chem-Cam, a powerful laser capable of vaporizing tiny parts of rocks from several meters away. Scientists on Earth would pick a rock. Curiosity would fire its laser. A tiny flash of light would appear. A sensor would read the glowing dust. Within seconds, the rover would know the chemical makeup of the rock. Nothing like this had ever been used on another planet. Curiosity was not just observing Mars. It was interrogating Mars. It was asking the planet questions with every beam. The robotic arm, a geologist's dream attached to Curiosity's front, was a strong, precise robotic arm equipped with a drill, a scoop, a mini-laboratory magnifying instrument, sample containers. This arm could pick up Martian soil like a human hand. It could drill into ancient rocks and study the powder inside. It could look so closely at a pebble that even grains of dust looked like mountains. Curiosity was more than a rover. It was a mobile science lab, carrying everything it needed to investigate a lost world. Inside the rover, the heart of the mission inside Curiosity was its greatest instrument. SAM, sample analysis at Mars. SAM could heat samples, analyze gases, detect organic molecules, search for chemical signs of ancient life. This was the instrument that could answer humanity's biggest question. Did Mars ever support life? Every time SAM activated, mission control held their breath, because one positive reading could change everything. Curiosity takes its first drive after completing its system checks. Curiosity prepared to move for the first time. Its wheels lifted slightly. Motors hummed. The rover rolled forward about 3 meters, then turned, then reversed. Simple movements. But on another world, these simple motions were historic. The first tire tracks appeared on the dusty soil, symbols of human presence on a planet millions of kilometers away. From orbit, satellites captured the long trail Curiosity left behind. That thin track looked like a path into the unknown, and that unknown was calling. An unusual signal. As Curiosity began exploring, its sensors detected something unexpected underground. A strange pattern, not just noise, something structured. Mission control grew silent as the data came in. What was this signal? Was it geological, chemical, or something else? The team did not want to jump to conclusions. Mars had fooled scientists before, but to Curiosity, the signal was like a whisper beneath the soil. And the rover's mission was to chase whispers. Exploring an ancient riverbed, Curiosity slowly approached an area that looked like an ancient riverbed. Rounded stones lay scattered everywhere, stones smoothed by flowing water long ago. These rocks proved something incredible. Water once rushed through this place. Not a little water, not frozen water, but fast-flowing, powerful streams. Billions of years ago, Mars had rivers. Curiosity examined the stones closely. SAM took samples. The rover fired lasers and recorded chemistry. Everything pointed to a planet that was once warm and wet, a planet that might have been friendly to life. But the strange underground signal kept appearing, faint but consistent like a pulse. Mission control couldn't ignore it. The rover reaches curious soil. Soon Curiosity reached a patch of soil different from the rest. It was darker, finer, richer in minerals. The rover's drill activated. It pressed into the surface and collected a sample. When SAM analyzed it, everyone gasped. The soil contained complex carbon-based compounds, the building blocks of life, not proof of life, but proof the environment once had the ingredients for life. Scientists celebrated, but the data also raised a chilling question. If Mars had the ingredients for life, where did that life go? Did it die out? Did it move deeper underground? Did something happen to the planet that wiped it out? Curiosity didn't have all the answers. Not yet. But the path forward pointed toward Mount Sharp, the mountain whose layered rocks acted like a time machine. Curiosity's next goal was to climb it. Signs of ancient lakes. As Curiosity moved closer to the slopes of Mount Sharp, it found clay deposits, materials that form only in long-lasting water. This meant Gale Crater once held lakes for millions of years. Long, stable lakes. Exactly the type of environment where simple life could appear. If life ever started on Mars, it likely lived here. This discovery shook the scientific community. Every news channel reported it. Curiosity was rewriting the history of Mars, but deep beneath the surface, that strange signal, the one Curiosity first detected on its landing day, was growing stronger. Now it wasn't a whisper. It was a pattern. A repeating pattern. Almost like a pulse. Mars sends a message. Scientists programmed Curiosity to dig deeper into the area where the signal was strongest. The rover extended its arm. The drill touched the ground. Dust rose. SAM analyzed the new sample, and then the signal spiked, so strong that it overloaded part of Curiosity's sensors for a moment. Mission Control stared at the readings. Silence filled the room. The data didn't match anything they had seen before. Not rocks, not minerals, not wind, not magnetism. Something under the ground was creating a pattern. Something natural, something chemical, or something else. Curiosity prepared to dig deeper. Mars was supposed to be silent, a frozen desert, a dead world untouched for billions of years. But Curiosity had just detected something impossible, something moving beneath the ground. No rover had ever recorded anything like this. Not on Mars, not anywhere. For a moment that felt like an eternity, Curiosity remained frozen. Its wheels dug lightly into the dust as it waited for the shaking to stop. Its sensors blinked, gathering data, trying to understand the strange vibration rising from beneath the crust. Mission Control on Earth held their breath. Every person in the room leaned forward. Not one sound was heard except the soft humming of computers. What had Curiosity just found? The tremor that should not exist. Mars was not known for earthquakes. It existed, yes, but they were small, gentle, and rare. But this tremor felt different. It wasn't random. It wasn't chaotic. It came in a pattern, like a heartbeat. 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses again. Curiosity's seismometers measured the frequency. The pattern repeated exactly. This was not normal geology. The rover sent the data to Earth. The scientists stared at the screen, stunned. They all knew what this meant. Mars was trying to tell them something. But what? Searching the ground for answers, Curiosity gently rolled forward, moving toward the location where the signal was strongest. The land here looked normal, just dust, sand, and scattered rocks shaped by ancient winds. But something in the soil was unusual. The color was slightly darker. The texture was finer. The ground felt softer beneath the rover's wheels. Curiosity extended its robotic arm and used its brush tool to clear away the top layer of dust. Beneath, it revealed a network of thin, winding cracks filled with minerals that looked different from anything the rover had seen before. The chem laser fired. A tiny flash appeared. The instrument read the glowing vapor. The results shocked everyone. The minerals contained traces of hydrated salts, the type that forms when water evaporates. Water, here, at this very spot. This meant that long ago, something wet had flowed through these cracks, possibly groundwater moving beneath the surface. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part was the temperature reading. Curiosity measured a faint warmth beneath the ground. Mars was cold, freezing cold, but beneath the soil here the temperature was slightly higher, not enough to melt ice, but enough to suggest something was generating heat. Heat meant energy. Energy meant activity. Curiosity drilled deeper. Hidden clay layer. As the rover drilled into the soil, it hit a compact layer of old clay. Clay was important. It meant this place had water for a long time, not just a brief moment. SAM analyzed the sample. The data came back slowly. Clay with trapped water molecules, complex organic compounds, sulfur-rich minerals, particles shaped strangely, not random like dust, but curved, branching, almost structured. Scientists exchanged worried looks. The shapes weren't alive, but they were odd. Were they chemical formations? Were they ancient microfossils? Or something entirely unknown? The signal from underground pulsed again, slightly stronger than before. Curiosity's mission had changed. This was no longer just about exploring rocks. It was about uncovering something beneath the surface, something hidden for ages. A forgotten Martian history. Curiosity continued moving slowly across the area, scanning and mapping every detail. The rover's cameras revealed unusual formations on the ground, thin, wave-like lines, polished stone sediment layers shaped like ripples, patterns that only flowing water could create billions of years ago. This place was different. It wasn't dry. It wasn't empty. It was a basin filled with water, maybe a pond, maybe a lake, maybe even part of a larger river network. Life needed water, and this place had plenty. But that was in the past. What about the present? The heat readings continued rising slowly, steadily. Something below was warming the soil, but what? Curiosity tried to use its drill again, and the drill hesitated. The ground was vibrating, very softly, almost unnoticeably, but enough for the rover to feel it. Mission Control felt their heartbeats rising. Was the ground unstable? Was the rover in danger? Or was this something new? Deep sound waves. Curiosity had another tool, a vibration detector built to study Mars's internal structure. The rover activated it. Sound waves traveled downward. They bounced off layers underground and returned to the rover. The data that came back was shocking. There was a cavity under the ground, a hollow space. How big? The measurements suggested something incredibly large. A cave, an ancient lava tube, or something formed by water eroding the rock below. No rover had ever detected a deep hollow chamber like this, and it was directly beneath Curiosity. The tremor pulsed again, louder this time. Curiosity's wheels shifted slightly. The rover adjusted its balance. Whatever was down there was getting closer. Dust rising from cracks. The rover's cameras captured something new. Tiny streams of dust were rising from the cracks, thin and gentle, as if pushed by a soft breath. Mars rarely moved dust upward. Wind always blew it sideways, not straight up. This was something else. Curiosity zoomed in. There was movement beneath the dust. Slow, weak, but movement. It wasn't alive, at least not in the way Earth understood life. But something was shifting underground. A trapped pocket of gas, warm air escaping, pressure buildup, or something hiding in the cavity. No one could answer, but Curiosity had to continue. Approaching the edge of the unknown, the rover slowly rolled toward the center of the strange area. The ground here was darker, the tremors stronger, the heat more noticeable. Curiosity stopped. Its sensors detected something metallic buried deep underground. Metal on Mars. Curiosity scanned again. The reading was faint but clear. There was something solid beneath the surface, something with a shape. A shape not found in nature. A shape with straight edges. Mars didn't make straight lines. Nature didn't make straight lines here. This was impossible. And yet the data didn't lie. Curiosity's cameras zoomed into the soil cracks. There, barely visible, was a piece of something shiny beneath the dust. Mission Control erupted in confusion. What was that object? A natural mineral? A piece of a meteorite? Or something ancient, something artificial? Before they could decide, the tremor returned harder than ever. The ground beneath Curiosity shifted. The rover rocked slightly. Dust exploded upward from a long crack in the soil, like air being released from a sealed container. Lights on Curiosity flickered. The cavity below was opening. Something beneath Mars was waking up. Curiosity sends an emergency signal. Curiosity immediately sent an automated emergency alert to Earth. The rover detected increasing ground movement, rising heat, gas release, unstable soil, unknown metallic readings, and a sudden magnetic disturbance. Mars was not supposed to produce magnetic pulses, not in this region. Something below was generating them. Mission Control scrambled to understand the data. Shock, fear, excitement, everything mixed at once. Curiosity inched backward, trying to move to a safer position, but it was too late. A deep rumble echoed beneath the rover. The ground trembled. Curiosity froze. The crack beneath it widened. A faint light, a glow, pulsed from the depths below. A glow that no one, not even the most experienced scientist, had ever imagined witnessing on Mars. Star cliffhanger ending part 4. The ground split open. A soft, unnatural blue light shone from below. Curiosity's cameras captured the glow for only a moment before dust filled the air. The last image sent to Earth showed something metallic buried deep in the ground, with a smooth surface and markings no one recognized. Then the transmission cut to static. Something ancient had awakened beneath Mars, and Curiosity was standing right on top of it.